It goes without saying, this is one of the worst months ever for Dragon Ball Legends. September is always a quiet period. You guys remember last year, it was the Z movie campaign. We had the 1% Piccolo and Goku, Ultra Turles, Garlic Jr. You know, we had LFZ Broly. He's a very cool character, so it wasn't all totally quiet. But for the most part, they didn't go too crazy. This period is weird in that it's somewhat close to festival, so they can't go too crazy. But it's not close enough to festival where they can't do nothing. So they're trying to figure out what do we do in between that keeps them satisfied. So it's somewhat of a quiet period, somewhat not. Something in between. Can't always be super crazy. I am not sure if this video is going to be one of those. This is just going to be me spitballing a bunch of random crap, which may or may not make sense. My thoughts may just go all over the place. It might just be a total random rant. I apologize for that to both the viewer and the editor that tries to put B-roll that makes sense with this. But
better keep your focus on me.
I can tell based off of my own analytics and other viewer content creators of the like that overall player interest is unbelievably low. Where do you pinpoint the specific problem though with this game? It's very difficult. I think the issues with this game go way back earlier within the year and even months prior to that. And I think Legends really needs to take a good look at itself and try to figure out what game it's trying to be and what decisions it should be making going forward. Because I feel like we're reaching a tipping point where things can be salvaged if they play it right. But if they continue going down a path with no regard for what the overall player sentiment is, then it's going to just continue to get worse. So I don't know what I'm trying to make with this video. I guess it's just going to be talking points on what I think are the issues with the game and perhaps what I think they should do in order to rectify some of those things. Maybe it's just a random rant. I got no idea. I try to keep this tidy, but who really knows what's going on here? I don't know. It's just a bunch of jumble in my head. I think the issues for this game started with Battle System 2.7. I think that's where the first crack in the armor started. Now, to me, Legends is a weird game, right? Legends is another PvP game that has gacha elements to it. But it's different in that it is a PvP game with a gameplay where a lot of player input is involved, right? There are a lot of PvP mobile games out there, and the #1 monetization model out there is always going to be gacha. That's just what the mobile market is dominated by. Some games are more pay to win than others. I was of the opinion that Legends is not as pay to win as people think it is. The very definition to me of pay to win is if you face somebody who simply threw more money at the game, then there is zero way for you to win. There's just no way for you to win. One of the examples that I use is Rush Royale. It's a tower defense PvP game where it has gacha elements in it, and that is an example of pay to win. The core part to your damage is your crit damage number, and your crit damage number goes up based off of how much limit breaking you've done for the cards in your box. You can think of it as, oh, the power level in Legends. You know, at the top how it says, oh, I got 700 million power level. That's the power level of your account. Think of it as your power level somehow influenced your damage, right? If you fought somebody that simply had a higher crit number than you, you just lose. There is no, I can play better than him, I can time this better than him, I can get luckier than him. That doesn't exist. You just lose. So you just forfeit. That's it. It's pay to win. There's no recourse. There's no way around it. You will not win. Legends had enough player freedom and control that if you were somebody that was able to time your sidesteps well, you were somebody that was able to use the right cards at the right time, knew how to do a drop combo, use your characters effectively, somebody with a less starred team or deck or account could beat somebody that just simply played poorly and was hoping that a bunch of money in their account would have them win. If they just 14 starred everything and just did a bunch of full range strikes and prayed that they could win, if you're someone that knew that was going to happen and you caught on to their bad playing habits and you just found they had this weird bias and they kept making the same patterns over and over again and you caught on to that, if you played better, you would win. That was sort of the appeal to the game. And of course, Rising Rush existed as that great equalizer that the game made in order to think that it's like, okay, you know, there are some fighting terms to equalize things. But for the most part, Legends had enough in it that somebody with a less starred up team or box could be a whale that spent way more, right? In my opinion, Battle System 2.7 was not an effort to kill passive play like they sold it. Battle System 2.7 was meant to strip away that freedom that allowed you to outmaneuver and outskill your opponent. I really do think that's where it all started. Because the minute people started feeling like their movement was gimped and restricted and they couldn't simply move back from their opponent, that's when people started to have this little mental, you know, just this little tick in the back of their minds like, you know, I don't like this. This frustrates me because I'm simply being punished for moving away from my opponent. It wasn't always I'm back floating to stay away from you. Sometimes moving back was simply the right play to do, but the game punished you. And I think this is all because the game did not like how people that were actually good at maneuvering their characters were beating whales. So I think Battle System 2.7 is where it started. It started with them trying to restrict player movement so that characters gave the biggest advantage for determining the win. And the reason why I think it's the characters part right after is because, do you guys remember the first character we got after Battle System 2.7?
Hey, it's me, Goku!
It was Instant Transmission Goku. This guy spawns AoE greens when he vanishes. He restores vanish when he uses cards. And I bring up that point specifically because Goresh and I did some testing the battle system changes. We decided, let's try it out and see what exchanges can work and what can't. How punishing is the vanish removal? And one exchange we did in particular is what really bothered me. Let's say you're both in mid-range and you back up. While you're backing up, your opponent tackles you. You see a tackle coming. You realize, oh, I gotta press a strike card. But guess what? Because you started backing up, you don't have full vanish. You lost 5% of it. So when you use that strike card to meet your opponent, they will just vanish you, and then they get to hit you for free. You lost vanish, they got the tackle in, you got punished. But if you were Instant Transmission Goku, that one card, that one strike that you would use while backing up would give you back just enough vanish that you can now vanish again. Does that make sense? They gave us a battle system that restricted player movement and punished players under the guise of we didn't like passive play, and then ended up selling us a character that worked around the battle system. They sold us back what we had before. That's where the first flag is. Now the next flag, their new design philosophy. This actually came, I think, only a few weeks after the battle system pitch. I think a month or two later, we get a newsletter. They say, hey, we've acknowledged that we got a long combo problem in this game. We released characters like Ultra Majin Vegeta, Ultra Turles, Green Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the transforming one, Green transforming Vegito Blue. We released a bunch of characters that have 40,000 card draw speed, arts cost of 2, AoE greens, or they get 75 key when they show up in the field, and they net 900,000 cards. And we realized we made a mistake. We didn't think of every edge case, and now we got our team. Now we got players getting comboed until the end of the match. They just get stuck in one priority, and it's over. They just lose. So we're gonna change how we make characters. We're gonna make it so that players don't get as much card draw speed anymore. We're gonna make it so that you can't swap out of characters when you combo them for a certain amount of, combo number. They make it so that your ally substitution counts don't go down anymore. They heavily punish how much key you recover and how much cards you're going to draw from sidestepping and charging, in the name of stopping long combos. That was their mission. And we thought, okay, if the objective is to stop this long combo mess, we accept. An unfortunate casualty to that, though, was they made every player's box obsolete. 6.5 years worth of characters got flung out the window because they said, as part of this mission, we have to now up the damage guard numbers, so the characters that have all this crazy combo potential just can't do enough damage to you, so they're not worth using. Now, of course, this translated to the Daima meta because they realized we can't just up the numbers. That's just not going to work. We have to do a combo of introduce significant disrupt, which is what the Daima meta was. The buff removal, Ku showing up every 2 seconds, killing all your cards and key, random paralysis crap. That's what that was. They wanted to introduce Daima to stop long combos, and then they wanted to increase the damage guard numbers, but pull back a little bit of tech. That's what the Dragon Ball campaign was. Demon King Piccolo, Kid Goku, Tambourine, the Blue Roshi, Jackie Chun, I should say. Characters of the like, but that had much higher damage guard numbers, but they had a little bit less tech. Now, of course, we know how that campaign worked. It was crap. It didn't do enough for them. Nobody uses Dragon Ball Saga anymore. It was actually so embarrassing. They decided we got to up the damage guard numbers for the characters. Otherwise, they can't catch up. Whatever. Soon after, we get the anniversary. And now we fully see this new design philosophy hit this middle ground of they have the multipliers that they said they were going to give so that people can do so that these characters won't get beaten up by previous generation characters, and they're gonna have a little bit more tech so that they can actually do something. They kill a card, they disrupt this, whatever. This is where Kaioken Goku, Saiyan Saga Vegeta, Tien, MUI Goku, Evil Vegeta, all these characters came from, right? Somehow we ended up back in the same long combos that they swore they wanted to stop. And you know what it was? They went out their way to make it so that these characters force drew cards. I just told you, they went out their way to change the battle system so you couldn't just draw cards. You're not going to keep charge stepping to draw more cards. You're not gonna sidestep to draw more cards. You can't just comfortably swap out of a million characters to draw more cards. No, they wanted to snuff that out. And what did they do instead? They made every new character force draw cards. Kaioken Goku, he uses a card, he gets another card. He uses a card, he gets another card. He transforms, he gets a card, he turns into another card. He gets a long combo. Saiyan Saga Vegeta, he uses 3 cards, he gets 4 more cards. He gets a holy crap, a bunch of cards. Evo Vegeta, his key falls below a certain amount. He gets a bunch of cards. I don't understand how we ended up back in the same problem. They just sold it to us differently. It's almost like they nuked 7 years worth of characters under the guise of we are doing this in order to transition to a healthier meta only to make the same problem. But now if you want to be one of those guys that can actually fight in the cool kids club, you have to summon for the new characters. That's exactly what ended up happening. And what made it worse, the absolute pinnacle of this problem, was the ultras. The ultras do not adhere to their own rules. We redid 7 years of power creep in 7 weeks. Ultra Namek Goku has universally killed team building because that team-wide second life is just too damn valuable not to have on your team anymore. And don't even get me started on Full Power Frieza, because Full Power Frieza is the pinnacle of what instant transmission Goku represented when they changed the battle system. Is it not an interesting coincidence that you cannot back up when your opponent uses Death Beam? Does no one find that interesting? Not to mention, Kaioken Goku has a short animation green. Frieza, short animation Death Beam. These things, they deliberately restricted movement, and then they started introducing characters that can just fire things down long range with very little punishment. It's almost like the people that had Kaioken Goku and Frieza just have this tremendous advantage. It's almost like, what's a good example of this? It's almost like having a narrow hallway and you're somebody with a bunch of javelins just chucking them down range, and the only thing the person at the end of the hall can do with their backs against the wall is just turn sideways, different angles, praying by the skin of their teeth that the javelins you're throwing don't hit them. That's what this feels like. So ultras not adhering to their own design philosophy, and as a matter of fact, even the devs not aligning with their own design philosophy. Now that isn't to say some characters aren't falling in that bill. Guess what? Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku, I think, aligns with the design philosophy. I think he's pretty good. Kefla, same idea. The problem is you cannot make it so that ultras are the only ones that aren't restricted by anything. Otherwise, you run into the big issue we have now. 3 ultras being ran together. It is quite awful running into this team, because not only do they all synergize well, but they all amplify the big issue we had prior. 2 of them have 2 lives while debuffing and healing, and the other guy gives them all a second life for free. Paired alongside the fact that they all heal when they show up, or they heal from that damn unique gauge, or one of them increases your arts cost, or the other one reduces all your ki, or one has an AoE green, one of them has the snipe, and Vegeta is just another example of the problem. This guy doesn't have an issue with his combo potential because he has a unique gauge where he can just draw a bunch of cards by using cards. Again, they made battle system changes and sold characters that are not restricted by their own battle system changes. So the question becomes, what kind of game is this trying to be? What is their focus? What is their priority here? Right? You're making it so that, how do I put this in a proper thought? The reason why there is low interest in the game and people are fatigued is because they made such a tremendous emphasis that you need to have the newest characters to play, that not only has this translated to a monotonous meta where all we see is the same characters ever, but they made it so that the ultras are a step above the characters that have to follow the new design philosophy, in that they got all the benefits of the new design philosophy with none of the restrictions. So now it is unbelievably needed that you need one of the new ultras and probably some of the new LFs, and the amount of chrono crystals that are needed to achieve that is damn near impossible. It almost feels like if you got lucky, you can play. If you didn't, don't bother. And I think that's why player interest is at its lowest, because people are just tired of being nickel and dimed, and they're just tired of just how they sold us this tremendous promise of focusing on balance and helping out players feel like they're not getting combo 24/7, only to double down on those issues and instead sell it to us. That's where I think people are really fed up. This might have just been the breaking point, though. Maybe I'm just ranting about a whole bunch of nothing. Maybe I'm just ranting about nothing and I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comment section below. But I think that's where the reason why player interest is at an all-time low. They only fight the same ultras 24/7. Fighting them is unbelievably annoying, and it just represents, it's just a constant visual of where they went wrong. And people, that were really reliant on the promise of, we care about balance, we care about new design philosophy, we don't want people to feel like, it's going to be the same characters over and over again, long combo meta. We ended up in the same spot. The exact same issues showed themselves again, except now they're all tied to this really restricted super premium team now. But that problem in itself amplifies other problems. The game does not give enough chrono crystals. Even right now, there's not enough events. I know in the anniversary they gave a lot. I'm not going to deny that they gave a lot. But a lot that they gave was probably still not enough to make up for the sheer demand that there is now. If before you could get by with the 15-16k they gave a month, I don't feel that would be enough with the crazy characters that we have now. If an ultra or two is needed on your team, the 20k CC cap is not going to be enough to help you unless you got really lucky. So yeah, that sucks. Even right now, we don't have any new events. And I feel like, with no new events to try something different, PvE being a total wash, for some reason they're not doing any guild versus guild stuff, no unique story events, PvP being really, really restricted to the same niche teams, I'm not really shocked that player interest and views on Legends as a whole is just not there. Now, that's 22 minutes of me just throwing crap out the window. No idea what I was trying to... I don't know. That was 22 minutes of me rambling about the problems in the game. I don't want to end it off on just that, so I want to talk about what they could do. Actually, no. Before I do that, I want to talk about what really hurt people. Is the fact that it was all the ultras that I just talked about, the sheer demand of how much CC you have to have now in order to keep up with how the meta is pacing around, the fact that we're back to the same issues that they told us they were going to prevent, and the fact that battle system 2.7 feels like I'm swimming with heavy ankle weights, like I'm walking around like Rock Lee's weights on his ankles. They decided to release a supporter system that not only is another chrono crystal sink, but it becomes another one of these gaps that allow people that are willing to put the money into it have an advantage over those that are already barely getting by with what they got. That's what this issue is. You know that meme photo of two people at a desk where one person has one cookie on their plate, the other guy has no cookie on his plate? Sorry, one cookie on his plate, and then there's someone on the side that has a bajillion cookies on his plate. That's what this is like again. This is what this feels like. The supporter system just comes at the worst possible time. On paper, I think the supporter system could have been something interesting. This idea of generating unique cutscenes and helping you deal with specific teams, in theory, could have been nice. But the way that they implemented it was unbelievably tone deaf. You have to summon for them. These characters don't come back for months on end. So who knows, if this is designed to counter a meta or counter a specific team, and that specific team becomes good for a very, 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 very long time, and you can't get a chance to get that counter, does that not feel like another scenario where if you don't have it, don't bother playing? Does it not feel like another, if you don't have the ultras, don't bother playing? That's what that's going to feel like. So that's already a red flag. Number two, why the hell do they give stats? Why do they give stats? Why does it need to give you an advantage? Wasn't the fact that it helped you deal with a specific tag enough an advantage in and of itself? For what reason do they give stats? And even worse is the sheer amount of chrono crystals needed to level up these supporters. It doesn't make any sense. I've never seen such a tone deaf, tactless, pathetic implementation of a system that was sold to us as a way to enjoy Legends for years to come. It just comes off as so pathetic. And even worse is the fact that the images in the UI look so bad. They look so bad. They were selling us these major updates for over a year. How is it that it looks like that? You could make the argument that it would look better if there was 6 of them. Okay, fine. But if they had over a year to do it, how is it that they could not resize the panel to adhere to only having 1 or 2? What the hell is the fact that I see a Titan Dende beside my my battle screen? It looks terrible. It looks terrible. So the supporter system is just, I don't know. I think it's just the last thing that set everything on edge. Like a full glass of water at the absolute brim, and the supporter system was the last drop in the faucet for it to all spill over. All the little issues that have accumulated over the years of people playing this game, the CC cap being way too low, not enough story events, monotonous metas, the new design philosophy not being adhered, this crazy release schedule, and all these ultras. I think the supporter system was just the last thing to annoy people, to say, okay, I don't want to keep up with the game. It feels like almost like a job. I just don't like all of this. That's probably what it is. Now, enough rambling from me. I don't want to end this video on me just saying, oh, everything's crap. There are ways that they could rectify themselves with this. 100%. 100%. You know what that is? Number 1, you actually adhere to your damn design philosophy. We need to counter Ultra Namek Goku and Frieza. That's where we're going to start. Number 2, you're going to start introducing characters that actually align with the design philosophy. I like characters that are strong in what their respective niche is, but they have obvious drawbacks that can be exploited so that there's counterplay. Kefla, great example. She is a really good damage dealer. She has multiple vanishes, making her tricky to play around. But guess what? She's a squishy character. If you just so happen to play it patiently, play around your opponent thinking, I don't think they got vanish back, I can probably get a heavy hitting move in and she dies. Same thing with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Purple Super Saiyan 3. That guy doesn't have a second life. I don't got to worry about that. I just got to get a heavy hitting move in there and boom, I got him. That's fine. We should not have characters that have 2 lives, AoE green, locking in, infinite type neutral, a card turns into 3 other cards, I have, all these other crazy moves. We shouldn't have that. So let's do away with that. Let's start designing characters that play roles, but at the same time, we have their obvious drawbacks so that team building actually makes sense. Number 2, we need to get rid of the CC cap. It has to go. If the game is going to demand players summon more, spend more CC, if there's going to be more Chrono Crystal expenditure, you have to get rid of the cap. Just straight up get rid of the cap. I don't think it's going to hurt the bottom line, and at the same time, this cap has existed since the very beginning of the game. Think about what has changed since the very beginning of the game. We have a new summon rarity. We have a Zenkai system. We have this atrocious equipment system. We have now this Rinky-Dink supporter system. We have banner frequency is increased. We have all these different ways where CC can fly out the window, but I still have the same cap. I don't think it needs to exist anymore. At the very least, it should be 40k, because you could at least say, oh, we wanted it to align with what the pity is for an LF, or what the average amount is for one Ultra, 40k. We need to do something about the CC cap. Let's make it 40k. I think that's a great place to start. Number 3, I think Legends should go back to making those unique story events. They used to do those whenever a certain theme celebration would happen. Like, oh, we're doing a Frieza saga or a Namek saga a little bit. We're going to retell the story when Goku arrived on planet Namek. He had that nice little battle with the Jason Birder. Like, just, they should do that again and not make everything 100% PvP focused. So at least there are some redeeming aspects of the game. Number 4, Legends needs to do more in its major celebrations. I think one of the biggest and easiest ones is, why are we not introducing more stamp sheets? You know, the one that you do every day when the day starts, you do your dailies, you get a stamp. How come we only have one? How could you not just make a stamp sheet for a celebration? Would that not be the easiest thing? It's like, oh, toodaloo, guys. Movie Saga campaign stamp sheet, yippee! Every day you log in and you finish your dailies, bam! 50 erasers. Speaking of erasers, every time we get a unique equip, I think there should be an equipment bonanza, and we should have the increased Zenny drop stage so that people don't want to pull their hair out. Anytime you release a unique equip that's tied to friendship rank, bring back the friendship rank increasing stages to align with it. It only ever makes sense. It only makes sense to do that. And then, yeah, I think that's a basic start. More events, get rid of the CC cap. Make it so that characters actually adhere to this design philosophy. Yeah. Supporter system. Oh, I didn't even talk about what they should do to the supporter system. I think they can't... They can't make it so that a supporter cannot come back until months later. What they should do is, going forward, every supporter is in an exchange shop. And the exchange currency is going to be whatever coin is from whatever banner you're summoning on right now. So let's say we got Yajirobe, we got Dende here. Let's say Yajirobe is a must-run character. When these banners go out the window, then what they should do is, now Dende and Yajirobe are put in an exchange shop. And let's say next month we get a LF Super Saiyan 3 Goku Twin Dragon Fist. You summon 5 coins. You didn't pull anything. But with those 5 coins, you want Yajirobe. Well, guess what? You can now use those 5 coins to exchange for Yajirobe. And then number 2, I don't think you should make it CC to rank up supporters. I think they should probably tie it to like playing the game. Maybe they tie it to like friendship rank or something else. I just don't think making you spend CC in the CC shop is the way to go about it, because it just wouldn't make sense with them giving so many stats. And if they don't want to do that, then get rid of the stat buff. Get rid of it. They told us at the beginning, oh, a supporter, if it gives a very targeted effect, we're going to make it strong. If it gives a broader range effect, we're going to make it weak. That is going out the window in 2 weeks. They're definitely going to make a supporter that they don't care about the restriction and he just stops your Rising Rush from getting guests. Some kind of crap like that, 100%. So they have to either nerf supporters or rethink how you boost supporters. It's one of those two. They're not going to scrap the system. It's not realistic. But they got to rethink how we're going to level them up from a system that's not unbelievably pay to win. So make them more accessible in an exchange shop that is always there, that you can use with any coin from any banner, or hell, maybe tie it to an event. Oh, it's a Frieza Saga campaign. Guess what? Supporter Yajirobe, if you do all your dailies in that new stamp sheet that I just told you, after 7 days, you get unique supporter exchange ticket. And you can exchange it for supporter Yajirobe in this Frieza Saga campaign. Boom. What a great way to tie the two together. I love it. So I think that's what they should do. Yeah. And honestly, just make sure that meta diversity is good. Yeah, I knew it. This is just going to be a total rant going all over the place. I apologize. But either way, those are my thoughts. I think the game is at its absolute lowest point because player patience has been tested. Tested for a long time. We've all been carrying around these small little issues that we tolerated as we played the game because of our simple love for the game. But as time went on, the game has become more and more difficult to tolerate and more difficult to enjoy as we fell into the same patterns of, oh, we always end up with the same monotonous meta. We always end up with the same, oh goodness, I have this equipment drain, this resource drain, the battle system making it feel like I can move less and less, and the demand for having the newest characters just more and more. And I think players just got tired of it. So my hope is that Legends or somebody can see this. I don't know if you're going to agree to the 35 minutes. I don't think everyone's going to watch all 35 minutes, but I want this game to succeed. I want this game to continue succeeding because I think Legends is one of the best mobile games out there. But only if it chooses to be. That's where it gets frustrating. This game could be amazing, but they keep stumbling on their own damn shoes because they don't know what they're doing. So hopefully the developers understand where the player frustration is coming from. They take note of some of the things that were highlighted in here. And if I missed anything, If I glanced over something or I missed the pressing issue that you have, let me know in the comment section below, and I'm gonna have it all highlighted in a document and sent. Just give me anything I may have missed, and hopefully it will translate to this game improving, because I want to enjoy Legends as many years as possible, and I don't want this to be a game that just dies due to greed or because they didn't have a clear vision. If they ever get lost, let us be the ones to help them find their way to continue having this be a great game. So I'm sorry, this is one of the longest videos I did, rambling about a whole bunch of nothing. If you don't agree with anything, you know, don't be, you know, rude about it. That's why I don't like opinion pieces. But if you do have, you know, some thoughts, let me know in the comment section below. But until next time, guys, peace.